Hey, how's it going? We are talking in this video about what to do in our post-launch phase. Man, it was so exciting launching my last album. It was just like an amazing feeling that day when it went out and the press release came out and I sent out my emails and I posted on social media and I was getting all this attention and it was an amazing feeling. And then like a week later, or even a few days later, I kind of had this weird feeling, like almost not depressed, but it was anticlimactic. And I think it's because I'd spent all this time like go, working hard, and there's deadlines and dates and all these little things to do and details, and there's so much to do. And then that day comes and the music is released and then there's nothing left to do. And it's out there. Okay, that's amazing. And now what? It feels like there's this big gap and there's this space. And so you kind of feel sometimes like you don't know what to do with yourself now. And okay, was that it? And depending on how well it went, you might feel a little bit let down, which is totally normal. And some of it's a little bit to do with being on a high. You know, launch day is a high, and that high is for sure going to come down. So I just want to prepare you in advance. If you've already gone through this, you know what I'm talking about already. But if this is your first big launch, be prepared. You're going to feel a major high the day before and the day of your launch, and it might even last through the week. But eventually that high is going to come down and you might even feel a little bit disappointed. Like maybe you didn't get the viral sharing that you were hoping for, or maybe the reviews, maybe you didn't get as many reviews as you wanted, or maybe, there was an odd comment here and an odd comment there that wasn't as positive as you wished it to be. There's going to be a few things that just maybe get to you, and the reason it gets to us too is because this project is our baby. Like, we've been working so hard on this. This is like our soul out on our sleeve in CD format in the world, and it's a very vulnerable feeling. And not just a vulnerable feeling, but we've also have some hopes in there that it will be received well, and that it will do well, and that people will buy it, and that they'll like it. So it's a very vulnerable place for an artist to be. And if you're not an artist, I don't think people will quite understand it unless they are an artist and they are doing this. It's kind of a surreal feeling. And I know you're going to relate to that because if you've already done this before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's kind of a scary moment. You launched your music. It's a raw feeling. Your emotions are out there. Your heart and soul is out there on display for the world to either receive well or criticize, or they can sometimes dissect it really in detail in reviews, and sometimes that can be great or it can be really painful. And you just don't know how it's going to turn out. You just don't know until it's finally out there. So the coming weeks and months after the launch date can be a little bit of a roller coaster as far as how we feel about it and how we feel it went. But I want you to take note, and if you can, even keep a bit of a diary or a record of what happened, how you felt about it, if there's anything you would do differently, what you would change the next time you do it, because I guarantee you're going to notice things, and you might have forgotten this detail or that thing, but you're going to be able to learn from this experience, and the next time you do it, you're going to be better, and it's going to turn out even better than this time. So just take heart and know that the feelings of going up and down a little bit after launch date are completely normal, and we all go through that. So I want you to know that any ups and downs you feel the day after your launch or the weeks or months afterwards, it's totally normal, and we all experience it. And what I want you to know is that your launch date is only the beginning. it's only going to get better from here on out, depending on what you do and how we proceed next. But it's just the beginning. It's the tip of the iceberg. There's only good things that can come after this. So the worst thing that can happen is that maybe you don't follow up with anything. But even in that case, like YouTube, it's accumulative. So you can't subtract views from your videos that are on there. It can only accumulate views. Only more people can discover you. So even in that case, if you do nothing after this ever again, you're still going to have more people come across your music, stumble on your website, see your social media post, or see you in a press release somewhere. But I don't think that you're the kind of musician that's just not going to do anything ever again. I don't think that's you, because you're here and you've made a big commitment to learn how to do this properly and do this in a strategic way. And that kind of person doesn't just stop and give up and not pursue music further. So I know you're going to keep making music as long as you live, because we already know it's in your blood. Because you're like me. It's in my blood. It's what we were born to do. It's part of our calling. Therefore, we have to continue creating. So this is just the beginning. Launch day, it doesn't end there. Now the next thing is, I really recommend to keep the buzz going. The key here is we need to keep the momentum. We worked so hard. We worked months in advance to build momentum and gain some traction. And we need to keep that going. And one of the ways we can do that is, it's very likely that if we did a press release that we got some attention and we got some contacts from people who asked to either review our CD or do some interviews with us. Now, if that's the case, this is perfect, because that is an amazing way to keep things going, and it gives you a lot of things to post on social media about as well. If you did a press release before your launch day, such as if you did a Kickstarter campaign, or you did some kind of crowdfunding, or maybe on the day of your pre-release or your single release, if you did a press release on one of those occasions, you might have also gotten some interviews and reviews then. Now, depending on how many you got, you could either post those interviews and reviews before your launch date in order to really build some buzz. That's a great thing to do. But if you're not getting very many, you can also save them and save them for after your launch. So you have some great feedback to post for your fans and to post on social media. So that helps establish a little more credibility for you. So depending on how many opportunities you had, just choose in a strategic way when would be a good time to post that. Are you needing something to post after launch day so that your fans have some cool things to read about you? Or do you have like a slew of interviews and a slew of reviews that you can post? So sometimes I don't even hear about all the reviews. I didn't even know about people who were reviewing my music. I actually had to go and do a Google search, and I had tons of pages worth of reviews from all different blog sites, and I had to read them all and pick some good ones and then post them that way. So don't forget, just because you didn't hear about it doesn't mean it's not happening. Just because someone didn't contact you doesn't mean they didn't review your songs. So you might need to do a little bit of research to find who has been listening to my music and what are they saying about it, and pick some good ones and then post that to your social media, and even send it to your email list too, because they're going to want to know how it's being received too, because they are your diehard fans that are on your list. It doesn't matter how big or small the blog is, or the webzine, or whoever it is. I recommend, when you're first starting out, do all the interviews that you can get. Whoever asks to review your music, let them review it. And this is another time where it's really handy to have that Dropbox folder that I was telling you about, because it is a pain in the butt sometimes to have to go and get a download code specifically for one person. Then you got to email them the code, and sometimes the code doesn't work, and this, that, and the other thing. It's a lot easier to send someone an expired or a folder with your music that has an expiry date on it, so that they don't have it forever, but it can be like a month or 2 weeks, however long you set it. It's really handy to have that already set up and ready to go. So when you get a slew of review requests, you have your Dropbox, you have a password for that folder, and you have an expiry date, and you just tell them, here's your folder, here's your password, this is the date it expires, have fun, and thanks for the opportunity. And so that just makes life so much simpler, I think. When you do find some really great interviews or reviews, or maybe it was like an interview even on YouTube or something like that, like a Skype thing. Whenever you find something worthy to post on your social media, a great little tip I have is don't just post the link, but also post a quote from the link. And that way, if people are too busy to click on it and go listen to the whole thing or read the whole thing, they can kind of get a little snapshot of the conclusion of it. And because statistics show that right now in Facebook, people read everything in their news feed, everything that they scroll. They might only look at it for a second and decide, do I want to linger and read the whole thing, or do I just want to, like, they're going to decide if they're going to stay or not stay or keep scrolling. But they are going to see everything you post in there. If it's in their news feed and they see it, they're looking at it. So I think take advantage of that opportunity, post a little quote like, this was the greatest album I've heard this year, or whatever it was that they said. Post a great quote in there because they're going to read it, and you want to build your credibility at every opportunity. So that's just a nice tip that I have for you, and I've done it and gotten really good results from that. If you didn't do a press release, you can still get interviews and reviews, but it's going to be a lot more work. What you're going to have to do is do quite a bit of research and compile a very big list, as big of a list as you can manage, of all kinds of magazines, webzines, blogs, any other YouTube channels, anything like that, in your genre, of people who review either new music, up-and-coming artists, or music in your genre. And you're going to have to, it could take you weeks to really find and dig deep on the interwebs and find these niche little blogs. And then you're going to reach out individually and contact them. And you're going to probably include, say, if you're doing email, you're going to include your Dropbox folder with your songs, the password, the expiry date. You're going to introduce yourself, of course, and you're going to have to sell them a little bit and tell them who you are, tell them that you've just launched your album. You can also do this ahead of time, ahead of launch day. If you already know there's no way I can afford a press release, then you'll have to add this to your list of things you need to do before launch day. So you're going to send the email, you're going to introduce yourself, include your music or the links to your music, however they can get it, and hopefully that will get you some interviews and reviews that you can then share on your social media platforms. If for some reason you didn't do that and you didn't have a press release on launch day, you can do it after the fact too, but there's going to be a little bit less of a buzz going on at this point. That's okay. You know, I did absolutely everything backwards and the wrong way my very first album. I just put it up on YouTube and I didn't do any kind of press release. I didn't even contact anybody. I still ended up getting reviews. I still ended up getting interviews 6 months later. In fact, they didn't even start for 6 months. So how's that for backwards? And then things started building up after the fact. So it was totally backwards. So I'm telling you that to encourage you that even if you didn't do things in exactly the right order, this is still going to work for you. You are doing all the right things. So there's an order that is going to work the best for you, but if for some reason it wasn't possible, you can still do it this way. And it might not be as good, but you're going to learn from it and you're going to hopefully do it even better the next time. Sometimes as artists, we have a hard time coming up with things to post on social media. Like, how much of our music could we post all the time? How much do people really want to hear from us and see us? Well, It doesn't work exactly like that. Yes, it feels like we're being annoying and all that, but as I've assured you before, the statistics show that people only see what is in their news feed at the exact moment they're online. Sometimes Facebook will show random posts from the day before or maybe a few hours before, but typically people are pop on and off of Facebook and social media throughout the day and throughout the week. So you're not going to need to worry about annoying people. So the first week of launch week, I like to post songs, several songs a day, every day. Now, how I make that not boring is that I like to tell a little story about the song. So I'll share with my fans the background of that song, how I came up with it, where the lyrics were inspired from, any little tidbit of information, maybe even like what it was like in the studio. Now in the studio, I did this with my vocals, and I wasn't expecting it to turn out very well, but lo and behold, it worked. And just a fun little behind the scenes kind of a story that people will connect with. And I did that for my last launch, and I had a lot of people commenting that this is really cool. Nobody does this. I'm really enjoying reading about your songs and how you wrote it and these little backstories. So that's something that you can do in your whole launch week and even beyond. I still post my songs every single day, and sometimes I'll just post a couple lines of the lyrics so that people might get intrigued by the words and they want to match the words with the song, or there's a variety of things you can do to keep things spicy and not boring, but still be posting your music on a regular basis. Another great thing you can do for launch day, post-launch day, and even months to come is to randomly rotate giving away a song for free through social media and on your email list. So I will change this up from time to time. Sometimes I'll pick a really popular cover song that I've done. Since it's not my song anyways, I don't really desire to make a bunch of money from it, and usually that's not really where the big money is. But if there's a really popular cover song I've done that I've got a lot of views for on YouTube, I will make it free on Bandcamp. They let you do that. You can give away codes, or you can just make it by donation. And I will rotate that, and sometimes I put my Christmas EP on for free. Since it was kind of a demo sounding recording, and it wasn't like my best work ever, but people still ask for it. So I don't really feel bad about not charging for that. And they love it, and of course it's seasonal, and it gets traffic to my website, and it builds my email list, because in Bandcamp, every time you give away a song for free, they have to enter in their email to get it. So Bandcamp emails them the song. So you're building your list at the same time. It's genius. And so I really recommend you do that. And you can post about that on social networks, like, it's my birthday, this song is free today, or it's free this month. And that's a fantastic way to keep buzz going, to get people engaged with you and getting to your website and getting hooked on your music. And the great thing is, once they're on your email list, hopefully they'll stay on, because now they are super fans and they want to know everything you're doing. They can't wait for your next release. The last thing we're going to talk about for the post-launch phase is one of the most important things I could teach you. And I've covered this a little bit before, but I want to talk about it a little bit more in depth right now. And from now on, this is going to be your primary focus. After your launch, after the buzz kind of fades a little bit and the traction starts dwindling down a bit and there's less talk about it, you're going to focus more and more and more of your attention on this one thing for the rest of the year, or until you put out your next CD. This is going to be your primary focus. And it is going to be building your email list. It doesn't sound very glorious. It doesn't sound very artistic. It doesn't sound amazing at all. But I've got to tell you, all the marketing experts apply this in every single other industry except the music industry. Nobody tells you to do that. There are some smart people out there that have figured out that it's a good idea to have an email list, but a lot of artists forget about it, or they skip it, or they don't make it a priority. Well, after your launch phase is over, you're going to shift your attention to building your email list. And this is really important. And one thing I just wanted to maybe point out, if you haven't really thought about it yet, is that it's a mistake to only build our social media platforms. So we could spend all this time and even money on ads and stuff, building up our Facebook page and our Twitter likes and followers and all this. But at the end of the day, we do not own those pages. We don't own those platforms, and we don't own the lists of our followers or their contact information that are following us on those platforms. Those are privately owned domains and websites, and they let us use them for free. We don't pay to use them. We're there for free. So we're on their turf. It's their domain. And it's never happened to me, but I've seen it happen to a lot of other people where they get hacked, or they get there's some kind of mistake or confusion and they get actually shut down, or their pages, they get locked out. Facebook is sometimes ridiculous and will lock people out of their own pages, or they'll get shut down for some really stupid reason. But the bottom line is, it's unpredictable. We don't own it, and we have no say over what happens. What if Facebook shuts down one day? What if it's like a MySpace and one day just becomes obsolete, and yet we've built 100,000 fans on our page, and then one day Facebook is gone? How would we ever contact those fans that we have spent years and years and years to build up? How would we contact them? We don't have access to their contact information. It's actually illegal to obtain it through Facebook. So this is why we need to build our email list, is because our list is ours. And there's lots of different anti-spam laws in place, which are fine, I suppose, but the way we're obtaining email contacts is going to be through voluntary interactions. So, for example, we're giving away a song for free in exchange for an email address. Now, if they didn't want the song, they wouldn't have typed in their email. So it's a voluntary action that they took, and it's a win-win. We get to keep in contact with them, and they got a free gift from us. And so that is so important. So we're going to use social media. We're going to be there. We're going to be present. We're going to be known on these other platforms. We can use those platforms to direct people back to our email list. And if you go to my page right now, you'll notice my banner right now at the moment. It might change by the time you see this, but at the moment, and for quite a while, my banner it says, "Join the tribe, click here." And when people click on my Facebook banner, it's asking them to sign up for my email list in exchange for a free song. So you can do that all across the board on all your social media platforms. And you can take a pre-existing banner or a logo or whatever that you've had, and just, if you go into Canva, canva.com, you can add text, or do it in Photoshop, or do it, and there's lots of different programs, and just add some text like, "click here for a free song." And then they will click on there. Now, on Facebook, for example, you can't actually click on the banner and it'll go to the link. They click on it, and then it'll show a description beside it, and then you'll say, "click here for the free song." And they'll take them back to your website or Bandcamp or wherever. So that is a fantastic way to build your email list. Now, we can talk more about ways to build an email list, but I want to tell you why we also want to do it. This email right now is pure gold. People are feeling like they're getting spammed a lot, and there's a lot of junk mail coming in, and so people are getting more and more hesitant to give out their email. So right now, someone is willing to give you their email. That is a very precious thing, and it's something you need to respect and we need to honor. And we don't need to be spamming them every day. I don't even recommend sending out a regular, like a scheduled regular newsletter. Like, don't do it weekly, every Monday at 9 a.m. People start to know, oh, it's Monday at 9 a.m. It's their regular thing. They probably just came up with stuff to say because it's Monday at 9 a.m. We don't want to be robotic. We want them to know, that if we've sent them an email, it's important and we have something of value to say and they're going to want to read it. So usually I send it sporadically, and might be a few close together when they first sign up. I might send them a few emails because right now, and you got to consider it in this way. Try thinking of it in this way. When someone first signs up to get a free song from you in exchange for their email, it's like going on a first date. We're just getting to know each other. They liked the look of me, so they weren't scared off by that, and they liked what they initially heard. So they were able to maybe stream the track and they want to download it now. So that's like, okay, I'll meet you at the movies. And you agree to go to the movies with somebody. You know, we're not engaged or married yet. We're just getting to know one another. So I like to think of it in terms like this. So when someone first signs up for my email and they get a song from me, that's a gift to them. You know, that's showing up early, buying the popcorn, getting them a soda, and, you know, opening the doors, and we're giving them a gift. We're being nice. We're getting to know each other. Then I send them a few more emails in the next week or two. Now, there is an art and a science to this, so we're going to talk more in detail about that later when I go through some tutorials with you. But, you know, think of it this way too. If you're afraid of that, you're like, oh, you know, people are going to feel spammed. You're right. We don't want to spam people. We do want to get to know them, though. We want them to get to know us. This is actually about building relationships with our fans. And it's weird to think of it in terms, sometimes we think of our fans as a collective group of people when it's actually individuals. And yes, sometimes, and the goal is to hopefully build a loyal tribe of fans that they actually become friends with one another. But at this point, when we're first starting out, the goal is really to just get them hooked on our music and for them to get to know us as an artist. And so we're going to do that by giving them a little information about us, and maybe in our first email, so maybe they get our song and we tell them where we're from, how long we've been making music, and just a little bit of information about us. So it's like a hi, how are you kind of a date. This is who I am, this is my background, this is where I grew up, and this is my music, this is what inspired me, and feel free to write back. Hit reply and write me back. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear how you feel about the music and what you think. And let me tell you, that is gold. I get dozens and dozens of emails every single week because I use that language and I tell them, this is who I am. This is a little bit about me. I'm so glad that you liked my music, and hit reply. I'd love to get to know you too. That is an amazing thing we can do right now, and nobody else is doing this, or at least they're not telling artists to do it. But other people who are in other industries in marketing know this, and they're doing it, and they're killing it. And this is going to be how we kill it in this industry long after launch day. And this is how you're going to build a very loyal tribe of super fans. And when we get to the point where we have exclusive products and high-ticketed, high-priced items to sell, these are the people who are on our email list that are going to buy that, and we're going to be able to make a really great living as a musician. Whereas doing it the old way, the old model, we wouldn't have been able to. We were going to end up actually making a lot more money and gain a lot better connections with fans than we ever could have on a major record label. So this is an exciting technique. It's an exciting strategy to use for musicians. It's kind of the equivalent in a way of like shaking hands with a fan at a show. So instead, and if you're a gigging artist, that is awesome. Keep doing that. For people like me, if you're like me, and you really want to focus on building your online presence so that anything you do outside of that and anything you do live is just icing on the cake, then really, really soak this one in. This is like super valuable. And so, instead of showing up to a show and trying to like shake hands with the 12 people that showed up, or hopefully more, and then and like people are like leaving and then you're not getting a chance to like get to know them. Or you played your gig and then your fans showed up late and missed you. Instead of that, this is like way better in a way. Okay, it's not face to face, but it is personal. It is intimate. They are getting to know us, and we're getting to know them. And we're giving them a gift, and we're shaking their hand and saying, this is who I am. Who are you? And I'm really glad to get to know you. And I hope that we can keep this connection going, and I'll keep making music, and I hope you keep enjoying my music. And it's a relationship. It's a real relationship. So I wouldn't say that it's better or worse than live. It's different than live, and it's a relationship that is equal, if not better in a way, because of, for example, just even that we can be in different time zones in opposite places on the earth, and they're writing us and signing up and getting hooked on our music while we're sleeping at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and they're writing us emails, and we wake up in the morning, we're getting these messages from people who are like, I can't believe I came across your music. This is like, I've been looking for this kind of music, and it was weird. You just popped up in my news feed, and then I signed up, and wow, this is like amazing, and I can't wait to go buy your CD. I get messages like that all the time. This is normal, and that is what I'm calling the super fan strategy, because these are super fans, and I'm going to teach you in another video all about how to target super fans, and where we're going to find these people that are going to turn into our biggest diehard fans. And this is a strategy that you will use for years to come, long after launch day and well into post-launch phase. And I'm so excited about it right now. And I am myself using this strategy. It's one of my main focuses right now. And these are the people that when they stay on our email list, they are going to put their money where their mouth is. And that is going to be amazing if you go to do a future Kickstarter campaign or crowdfunding campaign. These people are going to be the ones that step up. And I know from experience. So I hope this is encouraging to you, and I'm sure by now the wheels in your head are turning and you're excited for launch day and post-launch and this whole new phase. We're going to get into more detail about targeting fans through Facebook ads and social media, and what we can do to find these exact people who are already craving and trying to find our music. We're going to help make a giant shortcut for them, and we're going to connect the dots and help them find our music. And it's like we've been in their head. They're just going to be like, okay, that is weird. I was just thinking about that music, and then you were in my news feed, and that's amazing. That's actually going to happen to you, and I can't wait to hear from you, your results and your stories, and what happens from here on out. So watch the tutorial videos, and I can't wait to add more things and update more things for you as I learn them. I am so excited for you, and jump in the Facebook group. Really, really take advantage of that, and don't be shy. Post all about your struggles and your triumphs. We want to hear it, and we want to be there for each other. So I am so proud of you for going through this course, and it has been a pleasure to share my knowledge with you, and we will see you in the tutorials and in the Facebook group.